Thank you. Chair, and I'll recognize the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Griffith, for 5 minutes for your questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you calling this important hearing, and I appreciate all of our witnesses for being here today. Ms. Manner, your company, AST Space Mobile, recently seems to have a great use case in rural and mountainous areas like the area I represent in Southwest Virginia. Can you speak to the reasons why a mobile service provider currently may not allow for satellite alert capabilities? Does that make sense to you?
Let me try. So thank you for the question. So I think, first off, it takes a little while to get networks integrated. So one of the things we're doing, our partners here in the United States are AT&T and Verizon. So we're working them. This is a first time that you're ever integrating satellite into the emergency alert system. So we're working with testing with AT&T and Verizon. So you will see it. It's just going to take a little bit of time for it to get to a place. We don't want to deploy before it's reliable and people can depend on the service.
And I do appreciate that. I will tell you that this is of great concern to me, because when Hurricane Helene hit, I'm just over the border from North Carolina to one county in particular, and part of one county were hit not quite as hard as the worst of North Carolina, but pretty darn close. Most of my district was hit in some heavy fashion, and for various reasons. And I checked into it afterwards, and it was different stuff in different parts and different carriers. In at least 5 of my counties, we lost cell service completely. We lost land lines because of the disruptions, the flooding and the wind, and then we lost cell service. And if it wasn't for space-based technologies being brought in, we would have been really literally up the creek without a paddle. And so I'm really excited about this, because, you know, in those emergencies where everything is lost, you got to have something. I can remember being in Grayson County at the command center where for some reason, they did have Wi-Fi working there. And one of the guys had to leave to go check on his mother. He told her to stay home, but she wanted to go out and see what was going on. As it turned out, she was fine, but he had no way of getting in touch with her, and he didn't know where she was. He lost track of where his mother was, so he had to go look for her. I was driving separately from my district director. He went into a hole, literally a small opening happened in the road, and his car went into it. Now, the back end of his car went in. I'll tell you about my district. A farmer saw him go in, got a tractor out there, and they pulled him out. But for over 2 hours, nearly 3 hours, I had no idea why he didn't show up at the rendezvous point, because we had no way to communicate. So having, you know, all the technologies working together seamlessly is important. And then that raises the question, what prevents the seamless transfer between terrestrial and satellite coverage for first responders?
So I think for us, we're just putting up our satellites. So as I said, we'll have full continuous coverage. So we have to get our FCC approval still pending. We have to get the satellites up. But once we have that, and once we get through the testing process and the integration, I don't think there's really much of anything that will prevent it. But it does take a little bit of time. I agree how urgently. I've been working on this issue for 30 years of my career. So I'm happy to say that I do think we're there, and it will start to become more pervasive across the United States very quickly.
And I think that's great. I just have to tell you that I know there are a lot of people who want fiber run to every house. In my district, in some areas, to get to that house at the end of the last mile, or the last mile and a half, or the last 2.5 miles, you're talking about more than $100,000, maybe a couple $100,000 to get to 1, 2, or 3 houses. Those folks would be thrilled to have space-based of any type available to them. I know that's not what we're here about today, but it's extremely important, and competition always lowers prices, which is important to my district as well. Captain, let me ask you a question, and I appreciate you being here today. So, you know, I'm a little biased towards the space stuff, but what type of mobile network outage information would be helpful to first responders during a natural disaster?
knowing a visual knowing of what is out. Right now, I can look at my power companies and I can tell what power lines are out, where power is not being provided, but I can't tell where my telecommunications infrastructure is not working.
And I've run out of time, and the chairman's going to beat me down, so I appreciate that answer. But that's extremely important because I didn't know why my district director wasn't responding. And if we'd had some way, when I was at the command center in Independence, Virginia, for Grayson County, if we'd had some way of knowing that we were out. The only reason I know that there were 5 or 6 counties out is I was traveling in those counties and didn't have service. That's the only way I knew that. I yield back.